Hey guys, how are you? It's Thursday today. It's a great day to be a dog if you want to have it be Thursday. But we all know it's Thursday, so stick that little tongue out and say Thursday. Today is Thursday, and today is June 11th. How do we write 11? It's a 1 and a 1. Two straight lines. Lots of fun. That's the way to make a 1. So 11 looks like that. We need to add a dot because here we have 10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And here we have one more, 11. So we know that 10 plus 1 is equal to 11. And 1 plus 10 is equal to 11. So big doings today. First of all, let me show you my hand. You see this right here? That's my little scar. And I have to rub stuff on it. And it's very, very sore. Not the scar, but my hand is very, very sore. So I'm working with it. I did a lot of work at school today, and now I'm really tired. So that brings me to the next thing, which is sentences for the day. And we start out with the first group of words. I went to school today. Is that a sentence? Is it a complete thought? Yes, it is. I went to school today. Does it have words? Yes, it does. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words. Does it have spaces between the words? Yes, it does. 4 of them, actually, and then of course I had to drop down to here because I didn't have enough room to write today. Does it begin with an uppercase letter? No, it does not. Wait a minute. It's hard to do things with this hand now. Let me erase that because I just made a mess of it. We always know that when you say the word I, it means me, and we're an important person, so it's always an uppercase. But in this case, that uppercase is at the beginning of the sentence. Does it have punctuation at the end? Yes, it has a little period right there. All right, so next group of sentences. Miss Des was there too. Is that a complete thought? Yes, it is. If you ask me the question, who was there? Well, I would say Miss Des was there too. Does the sentence begin with an uppercase letter? Yes, it does. Does it have words? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does it have spaces? Yes. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 I had to drop down because I didn't have enough room to write the word to. Does it have punctuation at the end? No, it does not. So we're just going to put a little period there. Now, last one, last group of words. It was really strange. Is that a complete thought? Yes, it is. It was strange at school today. Does it have words? Yes, it does. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 words. Has 3 spaces. Does it begin with an uppercase letter? So we need to put an uppercase I on that little word, it. And we need some punctuation at the end. I'm going to put an excited mark. It was really strange. It was really strange because you know what? The classroom was exactly as we left it. It still said it was March. It said it was winter. We were up to 100 and something days in school, 120 or something like that. It was just odd being there and knowing that you guys weren't going to come back to it again. But we will see you soon. Next week, I think we'll do a drive-by in the park next to Pistario's, the pizza place on East Street, but the park on 3rd Street. Miss Des and I are going back tomorrow to get your stuff together and whatnot. And anyway, so that's where we are with that. I lost my book. The Muffin Muncher. That's going to be our story for today. And this one is by Stephen Cosgrove, and it's illustrated by Robin James. We've been reading those books, and they're fun books. They're cute books, and they're easy to read and easy to show. So I'm going to just hold this up here, and the Muffin Muncher. Now, the Muffin Muncher to me looks like kind of a dragon or a dinosaur. I don't know. That might not make any difference what it is, but that's what it looks like to me. She's kind of cute. He's kind of cute. I don't know. We'll see. Many, many years ago, in the far corner of a very poor country stood the poorest of poor castles. Not only did the villagers of the castle lack riches and valuables, but they were poor in spirit, for they had done nothing to be proud of. Oh, that's not good. We should always try to do things we're proud of. The only way they had survived at all was by baking and selling the most delicious and delectable muffins in the land. Well, that's something to be proud of, selling delicious muffins, baking and selling them. Every morning, the king, who was also the head baker, would bake a fresh batch of muffins. And when he had finished, the muffins were baked and still warm from the ovens, the villagers would load their carts and set off for other villages in the kingdom. I'm going to read that sentence again because it didn't make sense to me. When he had finished and the muffins were baked and still warm from the ovens, the villagers would load up their carts and set off for other villages in the kingdom. Okay, that made sense that time. There was never any problem in selling the muffins since they were the finest ever baked. But because the villagers were so poor, they had to use all the money they earned to buy more firewood and flour in order to make more muffins. So day in and day out, the head baker, who was also the king, would build up the giant fires in the ovens and bake muffins and muffins and muffins. He would slowly mix all the ingredients in a big cracked bowl, pour the batter into the muffin tins, and carefully put them in the oven to bake. Those are some pretty hot ovens. The villagers were just barely surviving. As if things weren't bad enough for them, there appeared at the castle one day a great and monstrous dragon. Oh, I was right, a dragon. Now, this was not your everyday run-of-the-mill dragon. He was a rather enormous, slightly overweight, muffin-munching dragon. With crumbs still on his face from the muffins he'd eaten at the last castle he visited, the dragon came trotting down the hill right up to the drawbridge. Taking one look at the dragon, the villagers hastily ran over the drawbridge and hustled into the castle to hide. They were afraid of the dragon. Well, the dragon took a great long sniff. "Ah," he mumbled, "I smell muffins." This castle, he decided, smelled like a nice place to stay. Trouble for the villagers. He picked up his suitcase and moved in right under the drawbridge. He was very tired from his long journey, so he unpacked his pillow, his pajamas, and the picture of his pony, curled up, and went to sleep. Villagers have problems dragging under the drawbridge. Excuse me. The next morning, the villagers looked out of their castle windows and thought the dragon was gone. Breathing a sigh of relief, they calmly began preparing for another day. After loading their wagons with fresh, warm muffins, they set off across the drawbridge over the soundly sleeping dragon. With all of the rattling from the wagons, the dragon awoke with a shudder. He yawned once, stretched twice, and peeked over the edge to see what was going on. Ah, so that's it, huh? Those muffins look so good, and I am very hungry. He thought and finally came up with a plan. Uh-oh! He jumped up on the drawbridge right in front of the villagers, tried to look very ferocious. He does look kind of ferocious, and roared loudly, "Stop, or I shall burn up your drawbridge." Then, just to be a little more convincing, he blew a little flame and puffed 3 smoke rings. Can you see the 3 smoke rings? 1, 2, 3. "Henceforth," he rumbled, "you shall each give me 10 of your most delicious muffins as your toll to cross my bridge." "But this is our drawbridge," they cried. "Well, if I burn it up, it won't be anybody's drawbridge," said the dragon. And the villagers thought and talked for a moment and finally agreed to give the dragon his muffins. They had barely enough money to buy firewood, let alone enough wood to build a new drawbridge. So if the dragon burned it down, they'd be in a world of hurt. From then on, every wagon that crossed the drawbridge left the dragon 10 absolutely delicious muffins. With crumbs all around him, the dragon would sit there contentedly stuffing those scrumptious muffins away. This probably would have gone on to this very day, except for one slight problem. The dragon was eating so many muffins that the villagers did not have enough to sell, and because of that, they didn't have enough money to buy firewood for the ovens or even flour to bake more muffins. They would return every day with fewer and fewer supplies until one day they came home with nothing. The next morning, the head baker, who was also the king, could not fire up the great ovens because there was no firewood. He could not use his big crack bowl because he had no flour or supplies to put in it to make muffins. With a heavy heart and a tear in his eye, the baker sat sadly on a pile of empty flour sacks and cried, "We have no more supplies to make muffins and no more wood to light the fires. We cannot bake any more muffins, and the dragon will burn our drawbridge down. Whatever are we to do?" Oh, poor king, he's very sad. Well, that same day, the dragon woke up, brushed his teeth, combed his hair, and prepared for another day of muffin munching. He waited, and he waited, and waited. No wagons came, no muffins came, and the dragon's stomach began to rumble, grumble, and growl. He tried eating a few of the crumbs that had dropped on the ground the day before, but that didn't satisfy his hunger. Besides, they were stale. "No muffins," he grumbled as his stomach rumbled and growled. "No muffins." Finally, he decided to enter the castle and find out what had happened to all of his muffins. The dragon wandered through the castle until he reached the bakery. Then he peeked inside. "Where are my muffins?" he rumbled. "I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. Where are my muffins?" Now the head baker, who was also the king, walked up to the dragon as bravely as he could. "Mr. Dragon," he said, "we are poor villagers, living in a poor castle which has very little. Before you came, the muffins we sold barely paid for our firewood and supplies, and now that we have to give you so many muffins, we can't afford to buy enough firewood, and our ovens have no heat." Well, the poor dragon was very confused. He wanted some muffins because he was so hungry. But at the same time, he felt sorry for the baker and the other villages who lived in the castle. The dragon thought and thought. Finally, a great big smile crossed his face. "I have it!" he shouted. He asked the head baker, who was also the king, to call all the villagers to a castle conference so that he could tell them all of his marvelous plan. The villagers happily began to cheer and shout as he finished, for surely the dragons had solved the castle's problem, and his own forevermore. Then, and for always, the dragon heated the ovens of the bakery with his mighty flame. With the extra money they saved by not having to buy firewood, the villagers could easily afford to leave a generous stack of muffins within easy reach of the muffin-munching dragon. While heating up the ovens with a lot of style and grace, the muffin muncher smiles a smile with crumbs upon his face. Look at all those muffins there, all those little brown things. Those are muffins. He sure did eat a lot of muffins. And that's the end of the story. So the muffin muncher helped, the muffin muncher, the dragon, helped them by supplying the fire, and they didn't have to buy firewood anymore, and so they could still buy the stuff to make the muffins. So they kind of worked together. The villagers helped to feed the dragon, and the dragon helped to fire the ovens so that he could eat. So sometimes it's easier when you work together as a team rather than just say, "That's mine," or "I'm doing it." And the drawbridge didn't get burnt down, and the villagers were happy. So that's it for today. Little story. I'm tired today because I went to work and my hand is really sore. So I'm going to get off, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay? Good. And tomorrow, of course, is our special day, so we shall sing. All right. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.